For years, Fortnite has been the king of the mountain when it comes to battle royales, and along the way it has redefined how we play video games. But what if the very thing that made this game so legendary is now its biggest threat? What if the only thing that can defeat Fortnite is Fortnite? Today I want to discuss how Fortnite's longevity may be leading to its own destruction, and answer a question on everyone's mind. Are we seeing the beginning of the end for this multiplayer titan? Let's dive in. Now, I don't need to tell you about Fortnite's meteoric rise. The game initially launched in 2017, nearly 10 years ago, and what started off as yet another zombie defense game eventually evolved into a battle royale sensation that captured the hearts of gamers around the world. Eventually, Fortnite established itself not just as a game, but a platform, bringing a whole host of new, great experiences for their players to check out. Whether you're a fan of third-person shooters, first-person tactical shooters, racing games, rhythm-based music games, or even exploration games, Fortnite has something for you. And that's just the content that Epic Games has produced themselves. With UEFN, your fellow Fortnite fanatics can create their own game modes. And they can also make a little scratch while doing it. When you look at all of these game modes available to players and then factor in the fact that Fortnite is a free-to-play game, it's not hard to see why it has been the king of the castle all of this time. That said, where there are highs, you will eventually see some lows, and players today are asking if we are witnessing the start of Fortnite's downfall. Now keep in mind, these are just some opinions that are going around online, but I think that they're important to talk about. We as human beings seek comfort in familiar things, which explains why some people have been playing Fortnite since the very beginning and don't show any signs of slowing down. While there are still a lot of people that find the constant influx of new modes, maps, weapons, and updates engaging, there is a growing number of people who are starting to feel a bit worn out. Any game that has been going as long as this one has will naturally start to settle into patterns. And some people seem to think that Epic Games is getting too predictable with their current content cadence and delivery decisions in Fortnite. Take the whole chapter system for example. Previously, having major updates in the form of a new chapter followed by multiple seasons with smaller, albeit equally impressive changes, kept players on their toes. It seemed like there was always something new and exciting to see whenever you logged into the game. But let's be honest. How many different shotguns can they really design? How many medallions or boons can they make before it becomes clear that things are just being repainted and repackaged? I think it's only natural that a game that has been running for the better part of a decade, while setting themselves apart from their competitors by including consistent innovation, will eventually tap that well dry of new ideas. Some players feel we may be reaching that point where the devs are out of ways to surprise us. And speaking of their competitors, by the way, have you seen what other games have come out recently? You have other battle royale games and their unique updates, and shooter games dropping with their own innovations, and that's before you even factor in other genres. Single-player games have been on a tear recently, and I know a lot of people have been feeling competitive multiplayer fatigue recently, myself included. At the end of the day, when our friend Mr. Dad with 2 jobs, 13 kids, and 7 soccer practices has a few hours to sit down and play a game, do you think he wants to go get pub stomped and full boxed by some teenagers? Probably not. Time is a precious commodity, and every major release recently is battling for your attention. The way that live service games have evolved makes playing one feel like a part-time job. And if you want to keep up with like 2 or 3, you better be unemployed or willing to give up some sleep, bud, because that is a huge time investment. You know, it's funny too, because a lot of these trends that we see with modern games like battle passes and weekly quests to up player engagement metrics were either created by or popularized by Fortnite. A little ironic, don't you think? So when you factor in all of this stuff, it's no wonder that players are feeling a little bit burnt out on the game recently, and you can definitely see why it feels like things are not looking good for the future of Fortnite. Now you may be saying,
Host, that's all fine and dandy, but it sounds like a bunch of emotional, anecdotal conjecture and hearsay with little to no actual factual backing.
To which I will say, wow, that was very well spoken. Yeah, you are correct. But there are some other indicators that also back up these feelings. Over the last year, interest in Fortnite on YouTube and Twitch has noticeably decreased. If you don't believe me, just check out this chart for Google Trends. Now, of course, people not watching Fortnite on streams or searching for it doesn't mean that nobody is playing. There's still a lot of people that log in every day without engaging with either of those metrics, so it's not a one-to-one indicator in interest, but it does give us data that shows in general, interest in the game is trending downward. Ask any of your favorite Fortnite content creators, and they will probably let you know that their metrics reflect this trend too. This creates an interesting scenario where, number 1, interest in the game is down. Number 2, the creator sees that and tries a new game to try and recover viewership. Number 3, as a result, there are less videos or streams on the first game, thus pushing the audience that would normally be watching those types of videos to seek other videos on other games. And we kind of get this loop where creators are saying there's no views, so I'm going to make something else, followed by the audience saying, well, there's no videos, so I'm going to watch something else. It's an endless loop, and the only way that Epic Games can break out of this cycle is to try and get a ton of interest back into Fortnite. Now, how can Fortnite save itself? Admittedly, I don't know. I'm just some guy on the internet. But if I was forced to try and figure it out, here is how I would start. Now, I'm going to be showing my hand a little bit here. Do I think that Fortnite is currently dying? No. But there is a large public sentiment online and a few things that have people worried, and I want to tackle these worries with a thought experiment here. There are a few common traits that Epic Games is given online, and I think that if they address each of these concerns, players would be more willing to come back and give the new content a chance in the future. Let's begin with public view number 1. Fortnite is creatively bankrupt. People are feeling the monotony of chapters and seasons and collaborations, so they need to shake things up if they are going to keep players engaged and, possibly more importantly, bring in new players. If the game is going to survive, it needs fresh blood, and I think that shifting things towards a more focused, fast-paced direction could be the ticket. If I had to give the team direction with my zero game development experience, here's what I would do. Take what players already love about the current Battle Royale and sprinkle in some of the things that veteran fans enjoy about the OG experience to make something that feels familiar and new at the same time. I want a smaller island with less POIs and a faster closing ring, and I am not joking. We need to up the engagements in the game, up the pace to keep people excited and engaged. I want them to focus on a weapon pool where each gun feels distinct and well suited for a specific range or scenario. So we aren't able to do all things at all distances with all guns. Like, there's no reason I should be able to take out somebody from 100 meters away with a shotgun. It just doesn't make sense. Keep the loot specialized, keep it focused. I would also rework the loot rarity system to make purple weapons feel like a big deal, and make it so you remember exactly where you were if an exotic weapon actually drops for you. I want it to be a special occasion again. I would also want them to keep movement items powerful, but make them rare so it feels like a big deal when you get one of those as well. And finally, probably my most controversial take here, I want to take the medallions, boons, or any kind of special abilities out of the game. Instead of special powers and abilities, the game should focus on your movement as a player, your gun skill, and how you use your utility items or building to get an advantage on other players. I do not want it to be about getting a magical combination of 3 powers that makes you auto-win the game. Fortnite needs to embrace being a battle royale. It needs to revel in it, and it needs to deliver that experience first and foremost. I want it to be chaotic, I want it to be unbalanced, I want it to be messy. But if you can rise above the odds and still take out that enemy player that has a loot advantage on you just because of your game sense, your knowledge, and your skill, you will feel so rewarded when you get that victory royale. Let's talk now about the second public view. Fortnite is just trying to do too much at once. A lot of people feel that Epic Games is spreading its development team too thin with Reload and Fortnite Festival and Rocket Racing and Fortnite Lego and Ballistic. You get my point. The Battle Royale and Zero Build modes feel like an afterthought, even though they're supposed to be the foundational main pillar of the Fortnite experience. If it was up to me, I would start to narrow down the focus a bit by shuttering the in-house development of some of these modes. But in doing so, I would shift them over to a state where they could be supported by dedicated players in UEFN. This way, the development time wasn't wasted on these modes, and the people that love them can still play them and make exciting new content for them. What game modes would I retire in this way? Well, I haven't had a chance to check out every game mode, admittedly, but I do plan on doing a deep dive on each in the future. So how about you go ahead and make sure you're subscribed down below so you don't miss out on that, alright? In the final opinion about the game to address, public view number 3, Epic Games is greedy. What are we up to now, like 4 battle passes? And skin prices seem to be increasing constantly. There's a new big name collaboration every single time I log into the game. Man, it's no wonder that players are feeling like they're being treated like little pay piggies these days. Now, I know that the game is a free-to-play game, and that they need to make money, yada yada. But if any game can afford to hear this kind of criticism, take it to heart, and make some major changes to win player trust back, it's Fortnite. There are like a million skins, pickaxes, back blings, etc. But what surprised me most when I first started playing this game is how rare it was to get a free item from the shop. Like, I know it does happen, we got the Juice WRLD skin or whatever, but it seems like Epic Games could do a little better, in my opinion, about throwing their player base a bone every once in a while. Even Warzone gives you some free XP token or something for logging in. So I just think that Fortnite could do better about showing their appreciation to their loyal fan base. And plus, that gives players a reason to log into your game more often, right? Get them over into the store, show off that new premium collab skin. That's just the cynical ex-sales guy in me talking. But mostly, I think it would just be a nice thing to do to reward the people that are playing your game. Come on, guys, you can afford it. But with all that stuff said and done, when you really boil it down to its basics, Fortnite is known for one thing: reinventing itself. When Save the World was not taking off the way that Epic Games wanted it to, they went back to the drawing board and strapped themselves to the rising rocket of success that was the newly popular at the time Battle Royale genre. And the rest, as they say, is history. Over the past decade, they have found new ways to keep things fresh, exciting, and engaging. And I personally think that they still have that creative spirit in them, deep down somewhere. It's just up to them to figure out what the future looks like, and we'll just have to wait and see how the player base reacts to that. At the end of the day, I'm not sure I believe in the concept of too big to fail, but if any game is going to live up to that, it would be Fortnite. I think that Epic Games' insistence on trying new things will keep longtime fans engaged for as long as possible, and they seem to have a high priority on getting new players into the game, with more accessible modes being offered and different collaborations to catch players' attention. Hell, the only reason I had Fortnite downloaded on my PlayStation was because I heard that they had a Michael Myers skin available, and I bought it without ever playing the game before. And now look at me. Jeez, life comes at you fast. If they can keep finding new ways to surprise and delight their user base, I feel like they will always have people that are happy to play their game. Even if all the current fans eventually move on to other things, I think that Fortnite will be just fine. But those are just my thoughts on everything. What do you think? Are we witnessing the beginning of the end of Fortnite? Or is this just something that everybody says every few months? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're down there, make sure that you're subscribed. We are trying to reach 2,000 subs by the end of the year, so help us build up this big, beautiful community and reach that goal. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, and hype it up if you can. I'm Haunted House, and as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to eat well, stay hydrated, take care of yourself and those around you. And I'll see you in the next one, friends.